children.
Yeah.
It was
Christian, what's the
horrible.
name of the guy that you said says anything can be funny?
George Carlin.
George Carlin. Can I respectfully didisagree? Or am I not allowed to? Like,
You
is
can-
that just
of course.
is that a comedian's rule that anything can be funny? Because I don't agree with that.
And see, I do.
Like, I have like 3 things that I'm like, there's no thing around it where you could make this funny. Like, there's just nothing. Like school shootings, don't touch it. There's nothing you can do to make that funny.
See, here's the thing. This is why I agree with George Carlin, because there are, to me, subject matters that are like very tough, and you're going to have a struggle. Like that being one of them for sure to do it. But do I think that there are comedians talented enough with personality in a certain way that you can throw in a subject matter and to you maybe somehow make it funny? I do think there's a way. Do I think it's almost an impossible
why take that
task?
challenge? Why be like, you know what? I want to make a joke about the Holocaust.
Two different questions. Two different questions as far as why take the challenge as opposed to is it possible?
Yeah.
The is it possible question? Yes, it's very possible to make anything can be funny, but not anyone can do it. It's just a matter of who that person is, how they do it, and the flip side to that is it's also so subjective that they can tell the same joke, right, that you find very funny, that he finds horrendous. And the flip side to that, maybe someone tells a joke, maybe George Carlin, God rest his soul, when he was around, tells a joke about school shootings, does it in a very intelligent way and a respectful way, but still talks about the subject matter, makes him laugh, but you still are not on board. So it's just it is possible.
There's topics to me that you should not touch.
Yeah.
Because they're so current.
Yeah.
And it's happening, and making a joke of it. I get why people do it, but it's not like if you're right now talking about things going on in the world and you're making a joke of it. It makes it feel like it's okay to make a joke.
Again,
of it.
it's two different.
Well, I get what you're saying, Rox, because there's always, like comedians or everybody's, if you can make a really good rape joke, you're a great comedian. But why, right?
Yep.
Like, but hold on,
that's actually where Carlin led into.
Right,
They said, imagine
exactly.
Porky Pig trying to Miss Piggy with something, whatever he said, but the way that he did it, and the crowd was in stitches, but he did it in a very different way.
Right, and like I've always been on this things like, well, why do I have to make a rape joke? Like
Right.
that shouldn't even be in my repertoire. Now, if George Carlin or whoever, a talented comedian, can make a joke not about the school shooting, but maybe about the shooter or something of that nature to help the people that have been a part of that as a part of therapy or something, then I can see it. But that being said, if it's not funny,
Right.
and if it's terrible, then that's not your thing. Like
Correct.
you've seen comics make
right.
jokes, but I'm like, whoa, dude, like that's not even funny.
100%. That's the thing is that because George Carlin never said up top, anything can be funny and anyone can do it.
Right.
No. There are subject matters
Yeah.
that 9.5 of people out of the 10 can't make it.
Just feel like
funny.
we're giving people the freedom to say like, but you should try it, and maybe you're one of them.
No,
And then they
that's not
say
what he
things
was
that are
saying.
like, no, I'm not saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying him. And by the way, different time.
Yeah.
Like now we've got different things going on now. But every time on this show, we talk about how like you have to be able to try out whatever you want
Yeah.
at the comedy club. Granted, I'm the only person in here who's not a. Riley, did you do stand up?
No.
Okay, so I'm
Never.
half of the room that does not do stand up, so I don't get it as much. But I don't think you should have the freedom to try anything you want, because some things you just shouldn't try.
That's what makes a good comedian because the comedian should know what they're able to do and what they're able to make work.
That's what I was going to say. It's on the comedian.
It's on the comedian.
What they find funny. If they can find something in there and then they workwork.
And it works. And I think that's dangerous to do to comedians. I think it's dangerous to say,
I'm not
look,
doing anything. You're pointing your pen at me saying I'm doing something dangerous. I'm having a conversation.
I think that what you just said, as far as the point you said, I don't think everything should be talked about. I don't think we should give them the freedom to do that.
I'm saying, isn't that opening up the Wild Wild West, being like,
And when I said I think that's dangerous.
Because there's a lot of comics out there that think they can.
Who else said it? Did the cartoon on the wall say it? That's dangerous, and I'll tell you why that's dangerous.
You said I think that's dangerous to do to comedians. I'm not doing anything to comedians.
What
I'm
you
asking about it.
So by shutting them out, by not letting them talk about whatever they want to, it's dangerous because you tell them, well, this is off. This is off limits. You can't talk about that. You can't talk about this. You're not allowed. It's censorship again. Because, again, the comedians, that's why certain comedians hit levels that others don't. Because either A, they know not to touch those particular subjects, or B, they're good enough to make it funny. Because I've heard comedians joke about 9/11, and I wanted to go up on the stage, throw them by their pants, and toss them out the window. Right. There's other comedians I heard do 9/11
But you
jokes.
think it's okay that they did it?
There was other comedians that I heard do 9/11 jokes that were very funny, very similar to what Josh said. He
But
did it in a way.
You think it's okay that both people did it?
Correct.
You think it's okay?
I think it's okay because the other thing was the person I wanted to throw out the window had the right to try it. But also, I would tell that person afterwards, you shouldn't have tried it because you just not. It was bad joke, but they have the right to try it inside the club. It's just.
I guess we disagree on that.
Okay, I mean, it's also from being around. It was my life
you're a
for years, and I would be, if someone said to me, "Hey," first of all, I would never. Personally, my set, I would never joke about 9/11 because again, my close friend Brian Cascio, who I told you he was on Cantor Fitzgerald. He was on the 103rd floor. Believe he probably went instantly, right? And it shook me to my core, and I've never let it go. I would never joke about 9/11, but it's still one of those things. If someone said to me, "Hey, don't ever joke about 9/11. You can't put it in your act. You're not allowed to do it because people just aren't ready." I tell them to go fuck themselves. Because I should want to try.
I'm not trying to say that to anybody, and I agree with freedom of speech, and you're allowed, but I think that just because you're on stage doesn't give you the right to say really, really offensive things to people.
I just don't think you're getting where I'm going.
Yeah,
where I'm
I think
I'm hearing you.
I think what Christian is saying is that bad comedians, and I see what you're saying, Roxy. Like bad comedians are going to try it and they're going to mess it up real bad and they're going to sound like idiots.
And they shouldn't have said it.
And they shouldn't have said it, but they said it, and eventually they will just get booed off stage, and you learn your lesson, right? It's like anything. And does it give them the right?
Or they get a following and people really love what they're talking
what
about.
I'm saying is the flip side of things, right? And I was listening to the thing about these Christchurch shootings this weekend, right? In New Zealand, is that. And YouTube has done nothing to stop it. And a lot of websites, Facebook, and all these things have done nothing to stop how these things are going down because, we could put a song on Collider Live and we get flagged because, like, Nelly's scrubbing algorithm knew that we had done whatever Nelly song, right? But yet this asshole in Christchurch is streaming to YouTube and doing all this stuff and like subscribe to PewDiePie and all this stuff. And because YouTube's algorithm is, if you watch this show, you're more than likely to enjoy this show, and thus promoting like the hard right extremism or even hard left. It doesn't. The extremism is the problem, and yes. Saying certain offensive things on stage, it's not for everybody. It doesn't mean that like free speech is something we should just leave by the wayside. It means that people should think before they say stuff,
I
right?
agree with that.
And the extremist thing is like these extremist acts are now being made public and easy to access by stuff like YouTube, by stuff like social media, by these crazy websites. And there's only so much and so much security that you can put on cybersecurity. These things are still going to be up. There's still going to be people that make sure that these things are seen by people that they want to believe and what they want to believe, and it's extreme. And the extremist stuff is when things happen that are terrible.
Yeah. Well, they showed that a lot of that stuff on CNN and a lot of news sites. So one of the big topics is social media making this encourage you on this, and most of the experts on there were saying it does absolutely, because it was very similar to what Brett was talking about when Brett was on, because it believes that this is a way they reach a certain bit of celebrity, albeit maybe even for 6 months to a year, whatever it might be. Right. And I also agree with Brett where I think you stop saying these people's names.
Agreed.
I think you stop talking about them, and the live streaming thing. There's got to be a way to shut that down. I don't know how you do it, but there's got to be a way to do it.
There's got to be a way to shut down all of this extreme encouraging of violence.
Yeah.
I mean, you are creating forums for people that don't need those forums.
Yeah.
The unfortunate problem with that is that that's like saying we've got to try to find a way to stop hatred.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I know that I would love to, but it's just there's just so much that goes into it.
Yeah.
So,
and I wasn't trying to take away from your point.
No, I think you guys are, again, I feel like I've upset everybody in the room, and I was just sharing my opinion.
You have a valid point.
Yeah.
It's your opinion, and we want you to say that.
Yeah,
and it's like I think I see your side and their side as well.
I feel like I'm not allowed to hold people accountable for their words if they say them inside a comedy club, and I still think I should be allowed to.
No. You see, I'm not
Look
saying
at Michael Richards.
No. Wait.
You hold him accountable.
No, that's a different situation. But you, first of all, you absolutely, it is your right. Now we're talking about the comedians, right? It is your right as an audience member to be offended by anyone that you want to be.
Yeah, and you've said that
You
the
can
whole
be
time.
so
for sure.
if I tell an innocent joke of my stupid samurai sword joke I used to do, right? If that offends you and you are so offended by that, you don't believe that I should do that because you feel like I was cheating. I was cheating the system by working and by not working by by time. The whole joke is the fact that I was supposed to be working and instead I'm going on eBay and buying shit. And if that offends you, you're allowed to do that. And you could walk up to the club and say, "That's not funny. That my boyfriend was killed by a samurai sword." Whatever you want to do, you're allowed to be offended by every single person in that club. What I'm saying, that's my whole point of the subjective humor is. But there might be someone sitting next to you who did find it very funny.
Right.
So now if you're sitting in a group of 300 people and all 300 of those people think that particular joke that someone told about whatever it was offensive, then that person's probably going to feel it in the room and know, maybe I shouldn't have told that joke because it was really bad. And they'll get complaints about it. But the opposite side of that is you might be offended by a joke that 299 of those other people do not. So how can you take that joke away from that comedian if you're the only one offended? Does that make more sense?
I'm hearing everything
Yeah.
you're saying. We just fall on different sides a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I guess that's I'm very confused then because like if you're sitting in what you're saying is if there's a joke that you're sitting in, let's say again 50 people in the room, you're sitting in there, someone talks about something you don't feel that they should talk about, right? You're offended by it. And you don't think that they should talk about it at all.
Okay.
But those 49 other people thought it was funny. Should they still not talk about it?
Did I say that?
I'm asking you a question about it. That's what I'm saying.
No.
So you don't think that they should still say it?
No, I don't agree with the statement you made. I don't feel that way.
Wait, hold on. Let me.
I'm confused by what that response was.
Really?
Okay. 50 people sitting in a room. You're one of those 50.
Okay.
You find the joke offensive.
Right.
The other 49 do not.
Right.
Should the comedian still tell the joke?
They're allowed to tell. I don't know what the joke is, but sure. I don't care. I can't. If 49 people think something's funny and I don't, I'm in the minority. Let them tell a joke.
But that's my point. Is that so? Like,
Okay.
But it happened. Let's say inside of that joke, part of it is that taboo thing one of those things that you don't think should be talked about at all. And it's one of those. Maybe it's a school shooting scenario that you said.
I don't think you find 49 people who think that's funny.
But what I'm suggesting is, let's say
That they do.
that particular joke.
Sure.
That the guy hit it. My point exactly. If somehow, or the woman, she found a way to tell that joke that it was funny, but you felt it should not be joked about, so you did not laugh no matter what. But those other 49 did.
Okay. Yes. Tell the joke.
That's all I'm trying to say. Like so.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's no reason to shut down. I'm having the conversation.
I just don't agree with you. So what do you want me to say? Sure. Yes. Tell the joke. I don't know.
But you're getting defensive when you shouldn't
I'm
be
not
getting
trying to get
defensive.
defensive.
You are.
I'm sorry then, Christian. I'm sorry.
You don't need to apologize. What I'm saying is, do you understand where I'm coming
Yeah,
from?
I do. I'm on this one. I'm just saying, like,
No, totally. You guys can all. It's okay.
No. You don't think that certain things, the poetic license shouldn't be given to comics to say whatever they want about whatever is what you're saying.
That is what I'm saying.
Okay, I get it. It makes total sense to me. And Christian is saying that you can't tell a comic not to say anything.
I know,
And
yes.
you can't tell other people not to say anything. Now, let me jump off of what Christian said. Let's just say you're in an alt whatever. You're in an extreme comedy room, and it's like open mic night at the Ku Klux Klan, right? And you just so happen to be there.
Right.
And they're telling this joke, and 190 people are laughing, and you're the one person there that's like, I didn't find that funny because I'm not a racist.
Right.
Yeah.
Good call.
That's like the situation.
Absolutely.
Well, and we've had an example recently with Louis C.K. who did make jokes about the school shooting and saying that they didn't need to be heroes and whatnot, and that caused
went
a
over like a
firestorm.
fart in the elevator.
Yes,
Yeah.
and especially
and also
what
he shouldn't
he's
be on
been doing.
stage right now.
Correct.
Depending on what you look at, the man he used his fame and his position to harass women and jerk off in front of them. There's no club that should put him up right now.
I agree with you.
And then that
It's-
club put him
and
up,
then
and he
put him up.
said that, and even more people were
Right.
offended.
And the other thing with
I
that,
don't agree with that.
well, that he shouldn't be up.
Yeah.
You think he should be?
I think that he's allowed to try, and I think that if somebody wants to put him up and bill him and say that he's going to be there, that people are allowed to go see him.
Well, that's where I was going. I agree with that. I think that the
I
thing is,
wouldn't go see him.
But he should. And I agree with Roxanne. I think that if you bill him and you tell people in the audience that
That
he's
was the
going
thing.
to be there,
that was the thing. They
as
weren't.
long as they know.
yeah. See that you can't surprise people.
You need to have
Yeah.
that choice in this right now
He's
for him.
he's lost those privileges.
Correct.
He's lost the
Yeah.
Seinfeld walk in at the end of the night to be able to do it. Like he's he's lost that privilege. So by that he also lost the privilege a little bit more so too, where the offensive stuff for him, he is an offensive person right now in general, and not in the way that he was before the scandal. He's offensive in a way like, dude, you're not supposed to be here.
Right.
Why are you? Oh, and now you're trying out shooting jokes. Now again, this goes back to my point because Roxy could put me on blast here too. But what you just said, anybody can try it out. He's in the comedy club. He could try, but the thing is too, he shouldn't. He shouldn't try to do that because for all the reasons, A, the shit that he said wasn't funny, and B, he's walking in there when people don't want to see him. You know, so
I'm with you.
Yeah. Anyway, so I like the discussion.
Yeah, no.
Look,
We weren't trying to. I don't think there was any attack here.
I don't feel attacked. I don't feel attacked.
you just don't agree. You're on a different side,
Yeah.
and it's fine.
Yeah.
and that's what we do here.
Totally.
That's the whole point. It's like no one. Yeah, it's
Totally.
It's also the thing is too. And I can't expect you to like I said. We lived in comedy clubs for the majority of our careers.
You feel differently about it.
I feel differently about it.
I
So,
know.
and you have been in again. You've gone to many comedy clubs and you've been an audience member many times. You're one of the reason you're on this show. You're opinionated. You're passionate about things, and I'm not asking you to change your
In
stance.
no way, shape, or form do I feel attacked or upset about any of this. I didn't have anything else to add to the conversation because I feel like I had like
We
when
just
you
disagree.
when you summarized it, that's exactly what it is. I totally hear
Yeah.
what Christian's saying. You totally hear what I'm saying.
on the other
I don't
sides.
want to I can't keep repeating it because the people at home don't want to hear that. So I didn't have anything else to add.
Done and done.
So what do you think could be? No, I'm just kidding. All right.